Hello, hello. How are you today? I hope you're having a wonderful day. It is Sunday here, and it is so pretty. We have lots of yellow leaves on the ground, and I thought today might be a good day for a soft story like Peter Rabbit. Do you know about Peter Rabbit? This was one of my favorite stories, and it's by Beatrix Potter. Are you ready? Let's see. Once upon a time, there were 4 little rabbits, and their names were Flopsy, Mopsy, Cottontail, and Peter. They lived with their mother in the sandbank underneath the root of a very big fir tree. "Now then," said Mrs. Rabbit one morning to her children, "you may go out into the field or down the lane, but don't go into Mr. McGregor's garden. Your father had an accident there. He was put into a pie by Mrs. McGregor. Run along now and don't get into mischief. I am going out," said Mrs. Rabbit. Then she took her basket and umbrella and went through the wood to the baker. Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail, who were good little bunnies, went down the lane to gather blackberries. But Peter, who was very naughty, ran off toward Mr. McGregor's garden. On the way, he saw his cousin, Benjamin. "Meet me tomorrow at the big fir tree," Benjamin whispered. Peter squeezed under the gate into Mr. McGregor's garden. "Mamma will never find out," he said to himself. First he ate some lettuces and some French beans. Then he ate some radishes. "Oh, my favorite," he said happily. "I can't wait to tell Benjamin." He's having fun now, isn't he? Peter ate so many radishes that he began to feel rather sick. "Oh," he groaned, "I had better find a little bit of parsley." And he went off and searched for some. But whom do you think he should meet round the end of a cucumber frame? Oh, he gasped. "It's Mr. McGregor." Mr. McGregor was planting out young cabbages, but he jumped up and was after Peter in no time, shouting, "Stop, thief!" Peter was most dreadfully frightened. He rushed all over the garden, for he had forgotten the way back to the gate. He lost his shoes and ran faster on all fours. Indeed, Peter might have gotten away altogether if he had not run into a gooseberry net. "Hurry, Peter, hurry," urged some friendly sparrows. "Mr. McGregor's coming. Quick, you must keep trying." "It's no use," sobbed Peter, trying to struggle free. "My brass buttons are all caught up." Mr. McGregor came up with a sieve which he intended to pop on the top of Peter, but Peter wriggled free, leaving his jacket behind him. He rushed into the tool shed and jumped into a watering can. It would have been a beautiful thing to hide in had it not had so much water in it. Uh-oh. "Come on, out you wee beastie. I know you're in here somewhere," muttered Mr. McGregor, searching for Peter under the flower pots. Suddenly, Peter sneezed. Kerchoo! And Mr. McGregor was after him in no time. Peter jumped out of a window and ran off. Peter was quite lost. He found a door in a wall, but it was locked and there was no room for a fat little rabbit to squeeze underneath. He saw a little old mouse carrying peas to her family. "If you please, ma'am, could you tell me the way to the gate?" he asked. Was all she could mumble in reply. "Oh, but which way?" asked Peter sadly, and he began to cry. Presently, Peter came to a pond where a white cat was staring at some goldfish. Oh, I must be quiet, he said to himself. Cousin Benjamin has warned me all about cats. And then Peter saw the gate. He ran as fast as he could, slipped under the gate, and was safe at last in the wood outside the little garden. Mr. McGregor hung up the little jacket and shoes for a scarecrow to frighten the blackbirds. Where have you been? Asked Peter's mother. And where are your clothes? That is the second little jacket and pair of shoes you've lost in a fortnight. You're to go straight to bed without any supper, and I will make you some chamomile tea. But Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail had bread and milk and blackberries for supper. The next day, let's see, hold on. This is a little different version that I remember. Hold on. The next day, we'll have to read that one. Oh, okay. The next day, Benjamin Bunny was sitting on a bank waiting for Peter. Where has Peter got to, he wondered, when he suddenly heard the trit-trot of a pony. Well, what luck! It's Mr. and Mrs. McGregor going out. I'd better find Peter right away, he thought, and rushed off to find his cousin. Benjamin found Peter sitting alone, wrapped only in a red cotton pocket handkerchief, and looking very sorry for himself. I say, exclaimed Benjamin, you do look poorly. Who's got your clothes? The scarecrow in Mr. McGregor's garden, replied Peter, and he told Benjamin what had happened the day before. Benjamin laughed. That's what I came to tell you. Mr. McGregor has gone out in the gig, and Mrs. McGregor. They made their way to Mr. McGregor's garden and got up onto the wall. They looked down. Oh, Peter's coat and shoes were plainly to be seen on the scarecrow, topped with an old tam-o'-shanter of Mr. McGregor's. Oh, it spoils people's clothes to squeeze under a gate, said Benjamin. The proper way to get in is to climb down a pear tree. Little Benjamin said that the first thing to be done was to get back Peter's clothes. There had been rain during the night. There was a little water in the shoes, and the coat was somewhat shrunk. We can use the handkerchief to carry onions as a present for Aunt, said Benjamin as they gathered the bundle together. Come along, Peter, urged Benjamin. Peter was not enjoying himself. Benjamin, on the contrary, was perfectly at home and ate a lettuce leaf. Peter did not eat anything and said he should like to go home. Then he dropped half the onions. What do you think he saw? It's too scary. We can't read it. Are you brave? Do you want to see what he saw? Okay. But as they turned a corner, Peter and Benjamin stopped suddenly. Oh, gracious, what now, Benjamin, said Peter. This is what those little rabbits saw around the corner. Quick, under here, whispered Benjamin. She's coming toward us. Perhaps the cat liked the smell of onions because she sat down right on top of the basket. Oh, now what do we do? Sobbed Peter miserably. Well, she'll have to go in for her supper soon, said Benjamin hopefully. But the cat slept on the basket for 5 hours. Mrs. Rabbit was getting anxious. Mr. Bouncer, have you seen my son Peter? He's been missing all day. Well, Benjamin has taken off himself too, replied Benjamin's father. Leave it to me, ma'am. I think I know where the young rascals have got to, and if I'm right... Father, shouted Benjamin from beneath the basket. The cat looked up and saw Mr. Bouncer pouncing along the top of the wall. Mr. Bouncer had no opinion whatsoever of cats, and he kicked her into the greenhouse and locked the door. How did you like that? Mr. Bouncer pulled Benjamin from beneath the basket. Benjamin first, I think, and then Peter. Oh, they were getting a spanking. Oh, those were the days. Off home with you now. Then Mr. Bouncer took the handkerchief of onions and marched those two naughty rabbits all the way home. When Peter got home, his sisters rushed to greet him. Well, at least you found your jacket and shoes, Peter, said Mrs. Rabbit, relieved to see her son home safely. There now, my dears, she added, all's well that ends well, but let that be a lesson for you, Peter. Do you think it was? Or do you think he ever got into some more mischief? We'll see. Pretty good, huh? What do you think? Would you be like Peter? Would you go into dangerous places? I hope not. I hope you have a wonderful day today. Love you. Bye-bye. See you next time. Happy birthday, by the way.